What is a semi-absentee franchise model?
So in franchising, you hear executive model, you hear semi-absentee. Semi-absentee basically says, look, this is a business that you can put a general manager in, and you don't have to be the owner operator. You're not the one sweeping the floors. You're not the one painting the houses. You're kind of orchestrating. You're the orchestra. I think what happens though, and I had another conversation with a guy today, that people out there, other certain franchises promote these passive business models. And at the end of the day, what you need to realize is, look, it all sounds great, but validate with other owners that are running a business semi-absentee. Can the business get to being more of a passive? Of course it can, but in the beginning, it's going to take a lot of elbow grease, unless you got an extra horsepower in dollars, I'm talking, to hire the right operator of the business. So I would say there are models that are a lot more semi-absentee, but at the end of the day, the buck stops on you. So you have to hire the people, and that takes a lot. If you've never hired somebody, you're coming from corporate and you've never been in a position of hiring somebody. Now you got to hire somebody. There's a lot of work up front, but a couple months in, can it be semi-absentee? Of course. But I always want to set the right expectations of what's really a semi-absentee model and what the really expectations are. Like, how long does it take for me to be semi-absentee? Can I walk in day one and be semi-absentee? Well, yeah, but maybe you have to do a few months of work before that because you have to hire the right people. So it's not like buying a rental property, having a property manager, and just checking your invoice every month. You're hands-on. It's a moving business, but that's why you can make more cash flow on these types of businesses. It's like, if you're looking for cash flow, I would rather own an operating business and understand that I'm, even out of semi-absentee, I'm going to spend more time than a rental property, but I can make a lot more cash. So hope that helped, clarified. Go to bookwithbo.com if you want to talk about finding a semi-absentee franchise model.
So there's a follow-up question. How do I find a passive franchise opportunity that qualifies for SBA loans?
So what we do at our association is we have you take a business assessment, then go over an intake with you about different sectors and what interests you have. And then we sit with you, ask a lot of questions, and kind of get to understand what you're really looking for, because there's a lot to it. What are your goals? What's your capital? What's your time availability? What's your market? Because it's going to vary. Some markets don't have all the franchise businesses. So once we put this thesis together, then we go out and we're going to look for 7 to 10 business models to present to you. And then from there, we typically want you talking to 3 or 4, because you really got to go, especially if you've never owned a business, you got to get out there and understand what these businesses do. So many people want to jump in and sign a franchise agreement, and they don't even understand how you make, what's the expectations to, starting the business, and how long will it take to ramp up, and how much capital will I need. And a lot of times people look at the FDD, which is the franchise disclosure document, and the item 7 gives you a low to high investment range for that franchise. And the interesting thing is it usually builds in 3 months of working capital in this low to high investment. The problem is some of these brands take you 12 or 14 months to ramp up. So they're not really allocating for all those funds. See, these are the questions. That's why I would say everybody should work with a qualified franchise advisor, whether it's me or somebody on my team or somebody else completely. Make sure they're going to help you really understand what you're getting yourself into. Because I find that a lot of people get emotional and they're on this high because they hear about a franchise that's doing tons of money on top line revenue, and then they get excited, which I do the same thing. But you really got to kind of break it down and understand that there's a lot more to it. Step back, take your time, and make a good decision and get the right professionals. Make sure you engage a CPA about, setting up the right entity structure for taxation, getting a franchise attorney involved to review the documents. Sure, does it cost money, but wouldn't you rather them tell you, hey, I don't like this franchise agreement. If they're not willing to change this language, I would not do this. and maybe you can negotiate with emerging franchises that need to expand because they've only got a corporate location or 2 corporate locations, and maybe they have 1 or 2 franchisees in the system. They're more willing to negotiate. So understanding the risks of getting in with an emerging franchise versus an established one, and then getting the right guidance through the process, and making sure. Gentleman I talked to today was working with a different franchise consultant, and he had heard me, and I said, look, you got to look at a couple more franchises before. Not that I was trying to sell him on working with me, but look, he only had done 1 or 2 validation calls, and you really got to find, and he wants to run this as a semi-absentee owner, and you really want to make sure you're calling people that are running the business the way you would. So if it's a semi-absentee model, or it could be an owner-operator, and you're going to run as a semi-absentee, make sure you're talking to somebody that's been doing the business for 2 years. Make sure you talk to somebody who's in it for 6 months. Get the good, bad, and ugly. And he hadn't done that yet. And this guy makes a substantial income on his day job. And really a lot of it, I think I opened his eyes. I said, look, you need a good CPA too, to look like a business that might have more write-offs might be better because you're already making a lot of money. Why not try to keep what you're making with this business? Because you can potentially offset some of the other income he was making. He makes $750,000 a year already, and he's paying $250 in taxes. So I think you got to look at people's situations and give them good advice, like you would want advice from somebody that might have a little bit different industry experience. And that's what I did with this guy today, and that's what I try to do with everybody. It's not about doing business; it's about giving people good advice. And through giving people good advice, they're going to want to do business with you because they end up knowing you and trusting you. And so that's the way we run our business. And anybody that works with us should feel that way, and should definitely explore a lot before making a decision, and really understand what you're getting yourself into, because there's a lot to owning a business, and you're signing a 5 or 10 year franchise agreement, and that you're going to pay royalties, and you're going to spend X amount in advertising, and you're going to do this and that. So you should know what all that really means. A lot of people probably don't even read through everything, and they'll sign a franchise agreement, and they'll wire in a $50,000 or $60,000 franchise agreement or franchise fee. So before you do all that, you got to do the homework, and then you'll be comfortable to make an educated decision. And that might even be you saying, look, I don't want to own this business. I'd rather do something extremely passive, like owning vending, where I'm working 1 hour per week on the machine and that's it. So hope that helped. Go to bookwithbo.com. We can talk about franchise. We can talk about finding and funding your ideal business. Bookwithbo.com. Thanks. Hi guys, Bo Exine here, and I'm with Baby Bo. Baby Bo is just a little over 4 months. He's my first child, my wife and I. So if you want to create legacy for your family, I highly suggest you go to our Business Ownership Summit. You can find all the events we're doing. Primarily, they're all free. You can go to boexine.com/events. And I hope to see you at one of our events. We teach business ownership, how to leverage SBA financing, tax strategies. I'm not a CPA and an attorney, but we bring CPAs on. You're going to learn why everyone should own a small business. So I hope you attend. Go to boexine.com/events. I'll see you at the next one. Hey guys, Bo Exine here. If you enjoyed what you saw, please subscribe to this channel. We talk all things financing. I've been in the lending industry for over 20 years, and I'm happy to answer your questions and provide great content.